Greetings, Light Tribe. Janine Palmer here. Before the end of the year. And this one is probably about reflections on things we struggle with. Do you ever sit and wonder why we struggle with things? It's really a lot to do with thoughts, isn't it? It's not always the life events that happen that seem so traumatic or whatever. I mean, it is, but it's also our reactions to them. So sometimes when we say, someone says, "How you doing?" "Oh, I'm really struggling with this thing." Really? I mean, like for myself, when I say, "Oh, I've been struggling with something," I realize I'm struggling with my reaction to the thing or my thoughts about the thing. You know what I mean? Like, even if someone does something to us, does something toward us that affects us. I mean, some people do some nasty shit, right? They're just, and we've talked about where it comes from. It comes from their unhealed wounds and their pain. Okay, they're angry about something, right? And something triggers them, and so that they go into these habits and patterns and programs or whatever they do that don't serve them or us. So in other words, a person might do something to us, we might do something to someone else that's hurtful, okay? Because it either was uncalled for or undeserved. It was just downright nasty, childish, mean, cruel. It's to spew something out at someone else for the purpose of getting it out of you or to trigger them. And then some people just feed off of the response. I mean, some people probably like hurting people's feelings. I don't know. So if someone does something that you get hurt by or react to, there's a couple things going on there. So yes, you can acknowledge that it sucked and you can have a reaction to it. And then what? How do you process that? How long do you hold on to that? How long are you going to let that person or their actions upset you? Or worrying about what they think of you. So like sometimes when you're in a family dynamic and maybe you're not getting along with some of the members, or just the way people treat each other, okay, and it has an effect on us. So we can choose maybe not to go to family events or to go and wear the mask, pretend like everything's okay when it's really not, because, people are talking shit behind your back or whatever. So that's when you have to decide how you're going to engage or disengage, or how you're going to let it affect you or not. Those are big tests and challenges, okay? But when we worry, like in a relationship, like, okay, what should I do? It's been feeling empty. There's no communication. Unkind things are said for years. I mean, like, how long am I going to put up with that before I have enough honor for myself to step away from it? So, you might struggle with what to do, because there's a lot of things that go into those decision-making processes, that if I do this, it's going to mean this, because there's a domino effect, a ripple effect, that other things are going to happen. So sometimes we just make a rash decision and the pieces fall where they may, or we think ahead, or we have compassion, and so maybe we don't rush ahead. But all I'm saying is, when we struggle with something, we're struggling with our thoughts about a thing. Sometimes we're afraid that someone's going to disapprove of us. They're going to be upset with us. We're afraid of their reaction. We're afraid of hurting them. But we're not responsible for their reaction. Because especially if they did something to create the situation too that we're in, somebody else contributed to it in a relationship issue where maybe they've withdrawn to such a degree for so many years that someone pulls away. So that's a reaction to an action, or a lack of action, or whatever it is. But what I'm saying is, someone does something to you that pushes you away, and then you worry about how they're going to feel. So these are the things that we struggle with, is the fears. Oh, they're going to be upset with me. Oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings. Or, oh, I'm really upset with what that person did, or I'm so offended, they were so rude. Okay, yeah, maybe they were rude, and maybe we know why, and maybe we don't. And the only thing that we can have control over is our reaction or response to that thing, and how long are we going to carry it. So like right now, there's certain times with energies and different things going on, planetary, whatever you want to believe in, or whatever you're aware of, or whatever you feel, that might affect something. um People talk about full moons and different energies, and a lot of people can really feel it. But there's things that test us, shadow things that test us. Okay, that it's like poking at the stuff. It's like bringing up the stuff like, well, I don't know if I want to move on and do this thing, or if I want to take this job, or if I want to, you know, whatever I want to do with this relationship, whatever it is. Um, they nag at you. So what are we going to do with the thoughts about that? So sometimes we need to get out of our head. We need to get away, go out in nature, meditate, whatever, distract yourself. You shouldn't like constantly be distracting yourself to where you're not focusing on stuff and dealing with things. But to work on processing and releasing and letting stuff go for your own well-being, mental, emotional, spiritual, which affects the physical. So this video is just about when we struggle with something. It might not be the event that occurred. It's the aftermath or the ripple effect from that event, and how something's still in our energy and still testing us or pushing us or trying us or upsetting us. And same thing with people and their behavior and what they do to us. They do things that might affect us, okay? And when we can step back from that and not react, or stop reacting at some point, that's when we come back into our power. We stop giving our power to that thing or that person. And even if they were hurtful, maybe they meant it, maybe they didn't. And if we hold it against them, we hold it against ourselves. So the sooner we let it go, the freer we are. And that's it for this one. Peace.